A truly abundant life, according to the Stoics, is not measured in outward wealth, but rather in inner wealth, peace, wisdom, and the capacity to face life with composure. Regardless of the situation, people are always trying to be abundant in our world. Most people associate abundance with money, success, and material possessions. More and more wealth, notoriety, achievement, and acknowledgement. What happens, however, after they have it? Instead, they often discover that they are still lacking something. They feel empty, dissatisfied, and caught in a never-ending loop of wants. Why? Stoicism gives us a distinct viewpoint, since genuine abundance is found inside ourselves rather than outside of us. It teaches us to concentrate instead of seeking things that are beyond our control. In what really matters, our mind, our actions, our way of seeing the world, it gives us tools to live with more purpose, with more tranquility, and with a sense of fulfillment that does not depend on external circumstances. In this video, I will share with you essential keys of Stoicism that will help you build an abundant life. In the deepest sense, key number 1, dominate your mind and it will dominate your life. Man suffers more, so you imagine that because of what actually happens. Look. If there's anything that really separates people who live in abundance from those who live in scarcity, it's not money, it's not luck, it's not even talent, it's their mind. That's how simple. You can have all the money in the world, all the luxuries, all the success, but if your mind is in chaos, if you're slave to your thoughts, your emotions, and your impulses, then none of that will do. You will be like a ship without a rudder, completely adrift. The first Stoic key to an abundant life is to dominate your mind, because the reality is this: your mind can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. How to apply this key in life? Imagine that you are in a difficult situation. Maybe you lost a work, a relationship ended, or something didn't go as you expected. If your mind is trained, if you have learned to manage your thoughts, then you will be able to see that situation as an opportunity, a learning, a test that will make you stronger. But if your mind is not under control, the first thing you will do is sink into panic, anxiety, despair, and guess that those negative thoughts are only going to make the situation worse. The Stoics understood this perfectly. That's why they practiced. Mental mastery on a daily basis is not about repressing emotions or pretending that everything is fine. It's about training the mind not to control you, but for you to control it. Here are some ways to apply this in your life. Question your thoughts. Most of the things that worry us never happen. If a negative thought invades you, ask yourself, is this really true, or I'm just imagining it? Change your perspective. Instead of saying, this is a problem, say, this is a challenge. Just with that small change of words will your mind start to see solutions instead of obstacles. Practice mindfulness. Observe your thoughts without letting them drag you down. You are not your thoughts, you are the one who observes them. Do not obsess over what you cannot control. The mind uncontrolled, it focuses on what has no solution. The trained mind focuses on what it can do. Why this key is important for an abundant life? Because if you don't control your mind, it will control you. And when the mind is out of control, fear, anxiety, and doubt become the autopilot of your life. Think of anyone you admire. You think their success, it came because you never had doubts or fears. Your success came because you knew how to dominate your mind, act despite the uncertainty, and focus on what really mattered. An abundant life is not a life without problems. It is a life in which you have the mental capacity to face them with strength and clarity, and that is only achieved if you take control of your mind instead of letting it control you through the future. Key number 2, don't seek the approval of others. It's ridiculous that they don't allow you to be what you are for fear of what others think. Marco Aurelio. Look, one of the biggest traps that human beings fall into is to worry too much about what others think of us. From a young age, we are taught to seek approval, that of our parents, of our friends, of our bosses. But what happens when you base your life on that? It happens that you become a prisoner of other people's expectations. You live in fear of what they will say. You are paralyzed by criticism. You make decisions based on the acceptance of others instead of based on what you really want. And this is where the Stoics leave us a brutally important lesson. The opinion of others is not your problem. The only thing what matters is what you think of yourself, as long as you are acting virtuously and following your own path. How to apply this key in life? The next time you hesitate to do something for fear of the opinion of others, ask yourself this question: this is something I really want to do, or I am doing it alone to please others? If it is the first, do it without hesitation. If it is the second, ask yourself if it's really worth it. Here are some practical ways to apply this key in your day-to-day. Remember that you're never going to be liked by everyone. No matter what you do, there will always be someone who criticizes, who judges, who thinks differently, and that's okay. Don't seek external validation. The most important approval is the one that comes from yourself. Ask yourself, am I acting according to my values and principles? If the answer is yes, keep going. No matter what others say, don't take criticism personally. Many times people project their own insecurities onto others. When someone criticizes you for no reason, ask yourself, this says more about me or the other person. Do things because you enjoy them, not because others approve of them. If you like to dance, draw, write, travel, learn, do it regardless of whether someone thinks that it's a waste of time. It's your life, not theirs, because this key is important for an abundant life. Because a person who lives dependent on the approval of others is never free, and if you're not free, you can't experience true abundance. Think about this: how many opportunities have you let go for fear of what they will say? How many times have you changed what you really wanted just to fit in when you stop looking? And that freedom is the most direct path to a full life in which you are the master of your decisions and not a slave to the expectations of others. Key number 3, learn to be emotionally self-sufficient. If you depend on someone else to be happy, you are giving away your epictet power. Here we go with a truth that may hurt a little, but is necessary. No one is responsible for your happiness except for you. We live in a society that has sold us the idea that happiness comes from outside a relationship, from family, friends, from success, from money, and of course all those things can make life more pleasant. But if your well-being depends on them, then you have a problem, because what happens if that relationship ends, if friends leave, if money disappears, if you don't get the validation you expected, if you base your happiness on the external, then you are also putting it at risk. That's why the Stoics insisted on emotional self-sufficiency, that before anything you should be able to be good with yourself, because when you are emotionally strong, when your peace depends on you and not on circumstances, no one can take that peace away from you. How to apply this key in life? Look at the key here. It is simple to be happy with what you have and with who you are instead of waiting for something external to complete you. Here are some ways to achieve it. Learn to enjoy solitude. If you are uncomfortable being alone, it is a sign that you do not feel good about yourself. Use alone time to get to know yourself, to reflect, to do things that you enjoy without the need for company. Do not look for others to fill your emptiness. Sometimes we expect a partner, a friend, or a family member to make us feel complete, but the truth is that no one can give you what you don't give yourself. Do things for yourself, not for others. If you need someone to congratulate you to feel valuable, it means that you have not learned to validate yourself. Celebrate your achievements even if no one else does. Do not put your happiness in something that can disappear. If you say, I will be happy when I have a partner, or I will be happy when I succeed, then you will always be waiting for something more. True peace comes when you say, I am happy now with what I have and with what I am, because this key is important for an abundant life, because real abundance is not about having more, but about needing less. When you are emotionally self-sufficient, you do not depend on anything or anyone to feel good. It does not mean that you do not enjoy relationships or achievements, but that you do not need them to be at peace. The fullest people are not those who have more things, but those who have learned to be happy for themselves regardless of external circumstances. And when you reach that point, when you understand that your happiness does not depend on anything or anyone, then you have achieved a freedom that few achieve. Key number 4. Practice the discipline every day. No man is free if he is not master of himself. Epictetus. If there is something that SCP for people who achieve an abundant life, of those who get stuck in mediocrity, it is discipline. Many believe that success and abundance are a matter of talent, intelligence, or luck. But the truth is that without discipline, none of that is useful. You can be the person the most talented in the world, but if you don't have the perseverance to apply that talent, you're never going to get anywhere. And this is where Stoicism comes in. The Stoics understood that the key to true success in life was not motivation, but commitment to your principles and your actions, regardless of whether you feel like it or not. Because, let's face it, motivation is a fleeting emotion. One day you feel like you have all the energy to work toward your goals, but the next day you are exhausted and lack motivation, so you put it off. This is where discipline comes into play. Here are some ways to develop Stoic discipline in your life. Do the hard thing even when you don't feel like it. The difference between those who are successful and those who are not is that the former work toward their goals, even when they lack motivation. You don't have to change your life overnight. Start with small daily actions. For example, if you want to read more, start with 10 minutes a day. If you want to improve your physique, start with 10 push-ups. Perseverance. Stop negotiating with yourself. How many times have you said, tomorrow I'll start, just one day of rest, nothing happens. If I leave it for later, those excuses are the enemy of discipline. When you decide to do something, do it without looking for excuses. Surround yourself with habits that reinforce your discipline. Wake up early, take care of your diet, eliminate unnecessary distractions, organize your day. Your environment has a huge impact on your discipline. Why this key is important to an abundant life: because discipline gives you control over your life. Without discipline, you are at the mercy of your emotions, procrastination, and laziness. With discipline, you have the power to build the life you want. The most successful and abundant people are not the ones who wait to feel motivated, but the ones who act every day, no matter how they feel. Think about any major achievement in history. None of them it was achieved by luck or because someone felt motivated. They were achieved thanks to constant discipline. And if you want a truly abundant life, you must understand this. Without discipline, there is no freedom. If you are not the owner of your habits, your actions, and your time, then you can never be the owner of your destiny. Key number 5. Do not get attached to anything that you cannot lose. Wealth is not about having many possessions, but in having few needs. Epictetus. Here's a truth that few want to accept. Everything you have right now may disappear. Your money, your job, your partner, your health, even the people you love. Everything in life is temporary. But most people live as if nothing will ever change. They cling to their things, to their relationships, to their status, as if they were eternal. And when inevitably life takes something away from them, they suffer. The Stoics understood this perfectly. That's why they practiced something called preparation for loss. It doesn't mean living in fear of losing everything, but learning to value what you have without becoming dependent on it, enjoying without attachment. Because at the end of the day, true abundance is not having more things, but having the freedom not to depend on them. How to apply this key in life: be grateful for what you have, but don't cling to it. Don't take anything for granted. Appreciate what you have today, but understand that it might not be tomorrow. Remember that the value of things is not in them, but in how you use them. Having money is not bad. The bad thing is to depend on it to be happy. Having relationships is not bad. The bad thing is to make your happiness depend on another person. Practice mental disappropriation. This is a very powerful Stoic exercise. Imagine for a moment that you lose everything you have. How would you feel if just thinking about it causes you anxiety? It is a sign that you are too attached. Work on reducing that dependency. Do not identify with your possessions or achievements. Many people say, I am my job, I am my car, I am my house. No, you are nothing of that. You are what is left when everything goes by. This key is important for an abundant life, because a person who depends on the external will never be really free. If you need something to be happy, then you are not the owner of your happiness. Think about this. If tomorrow you lose everything, you would still be the same person. If the answer is no, then you have built your identity on something fragile. But if you learn to live without attachment, if you understand that everything is borrowed and temporary, then it doesn't matter how that life takes away from you. You will continue to be you. You will continue in peace. You will continue abundantly. Key number: your emotions are mastered before they dominate you. Anyone can get angry. That is easy. But being angry with the right person to the right degree, at the right time, for the right reason and in the right way, that is not easy. Aristotle. Let's be honest. Emotions can drive you to do great things, or they can ruin your life in an instant. We have all made impulsive decisions in a moment of anger, fear, or sadness, and then when the emotion goes down, we realize that we acted without thinking and that we could have done better. The Stoics were very clear. You cannot control what you feel, but you can control how you respond to what you feel and hear everything. When you let your emotions control you, become enslaved to them. But when you learn to handle them intelligently, instead of reacting impulsively, you regain power over your life. How to apply this key in life: before reacting, pause. The next time something provokes a strong reaction, don't respond immediately. Take a deep breath. Wait a few seconds and analyze if it is really worth responding that way. Don't take anything personally. Most of the things that hurt us have nothing to do with us, but with the insecurities and problems of others. Learn to observe your emotions without acting on impulse. When you feel anger, fear, or sadness, ask yourself why you feel this way. Don't try to repress it. Just observe it without letting it control you. Remember that emotions are temporary. What today seems like the end of the world, in a few days or weeks it will be just a memory. Don't take permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Channel your emotions in a positive way instead of yelling or acting impulsively. Find a way to release those emotions productively. Exercise, write, meditate, talk to someone you trust. Why this key is important for an abundant life. Because when you learn to control your emotions instead of them controlling you, you make better decisions. You stress less and you live more clearly. And peace. The people who have built abundant lives are not the ones who never feel negative emotions, but the ones who learn to manage them without letting them ruin their life. Remember this, anger, fear, and sadness are normal, but the way you handle them define your destiny. Key number 7, embrace discomfort. That's where you grow. Don't look for things to happen the way you want. Rather want them to happen as they happen, and you will be happy. Epictetus. If there is something we have been taught since childhood, it is to avoid pain, avoid discomfort, always look for the easy way, and you know that this is the biggest mistake you can make if you want an abundant life. Why? Because all real growth comes from discomfort. The Stoics understood it perfectly. They knew that suffering is an inevitable part of life, and that trying to avoid it only makes you more weak. On the other hand, when you consciously expose yourself to discomfort, when you face challenges instead of running away from them, you become a stronger, wiser, and more prepared person for whatever life throws at you. How to apply this key in life? Do things that take you out of your comfort zone every day. It can be something as simple as taking a cold shower, talking to an unknown, getting up earlier, or doing something that has always scared you. When you face a problem, instead of complaining, ask yourself, what I can learn from this. Difficult moments are the ones that teach you the most. If you see them as opportunities for growth instead of as punishments, everything changes. Do not seek an easy life, seek a meaningful life. It is not about suffering for suffering, but about learning to face difficulty with dignity and determination. Train your mind to resist discomfort. The next time you feel that something is too difficult, remember that every time you overcome a discomfort, you become stronger. Because this key is important for an abundant life. Because a person who only seeks comfort never grows, and if you don't grow, you will never reach your full potential. Think of any successful person in any mentally strong person. Everyone has gone through difficulties, all have faced with discomfort, and they have. Life is not going to give you everything on a silver platter, but if you learn to see discomfort as an opportunity instead of as a curse, nothing can stop you. Key number 8, speak less, listen more. Nature has given us 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we listen more and talk less. Without a place, here we go with a truth that hurts, but that we all need listening. We talk too much and we listen too little. Look, most people don't listen to understand, listen to respond. While someone is talking, they're already thinking about what they're going to say next, and that not only ruins the conversation, but also closes many doors of learning. The Stoics valued silence and observation. They knew that knowledge comes more from listening than from talking, and that many times silence says more than 1 word. How to apply this key in life? Don't interrupt. If someone is talking, let it finish. Learn to listen carefully and without rushing to give your opinion. Ask questions instead of just giving answers. Instead of always wanting to be right, try to understand the other's perspective. Ask more, talk less, learn from silence. You don't have to give an opinion on everything. Sometimes the best response is to stay quiet and analyze the situation. Don't reveal too much about yourself unnecessarily. Many times the excess of words gets us into it in problems. Not everyone needs to know everything about you, because this key is important for an abundant life. Because when you learn to listen more and talk less, you learn more, connect better with people, and avoid many mistakes. Think about the wisest people you know. They are not the ones who talk the most, they are the ones who observe the most, listen the most, and think the most before opening their mouths. And the abundant life does not. It's about speaking to impress, but about listening to understand. Key number 9, live the present. Because it's the only thing you have. Man suffers more because of what he imagines than because of what really happens. Seneca. Here's the great irony of life. Many are alive but aren't really living. Think about it. Most people are trapped in 2 places that don't exist: the past and the future. They worry because of mistakes that they can no longer change. They are distressed by problems that have not yet occurred. They live in the nostalgia of what was or in the anxiety of what will be, and the present slips out of their hands. The Stoics understood that the only moment we really possess is the now. You cannot change the past, you cannot control the future, but you can decide what to do with this precise moment. Apply this key in life. When you realize that your mind is in the past or in the future, bring it back to the present. Ask yourself what is happening right now. Do one thing at a time and value it. If you are endo, taste the food. If you are talking to someone, really listen. Do not do everything in a hurry, because life goes away in the process. Don't let fear to the future paralyzes you. 90% of the things that worry you never happen. The best way to build a good future is to make good Decisions today: let go of the past, what you did, what happened, what they said. You can't change it, learn from it, and move on. Every day is a new opportunity, because this key is important for an abundant life. Because if you don't live in the present, you miss the life of the more valuable moments are not in the future or in the past, they are happening right now. A truly abundant person is not the one who has the most money or the most success, but the one who knows how to enjoy every moment without being trapped in remorse or anxiety. So ask yourself this question: am I really living or only existing? Key number 10. Don't waste your energy on things that don't depend on you. If you worry so it's out of your control to waste your life, Epictetus, look, there's something you need to understand as soon as possible. If you want to live with true abundance, not everything is worth your energy. But most people do the exact opposite. They wear themselves out worrying about what others think of them. They get angry about things they can't change. They get frustrated by the behavior of others. And here's the problem: your energy, it's limited. If you spend it on things that are out of your control, you'll be left empty and powerless for what really matters. The Stoics were experts at this. They knew that life is simpler when you learn to differentiate between what you can and can't control. How to apply this key in life: make a mental list. Every time something worries you: I can do something about it, yes. Do it. I can't do anything about it, then let it go. Don't try to change people. Everyone has their own path. If someone doesn't want to improve, it's not your responsibility to carry it. Don't wear yourself out arguing with closed people. No matter how good your arguments are, if someone doesn't want to listen, you'll waste your time and your peace. Accept that you can't control everything. Some things just happen. The only thing you can control is how you react to them, because this key is important for an abundant life, because life becomes lighter when you focus only on what is in your hands. If you stop wasting your energy on unnecessary problems, toxic people, and things you can't change, you will have more energy left for what really matters: your growth, your peace, and your purpose. Those who live abundantly are not the ones who control everything, but those who learn to let go of what does not depend on them. Key number 11. Surround yourself with people who elevate your life. Count on those who can make you better, and also welcome those you can make better. Seneca, look, if there is something that deeply affects the quality of your life, it is who you spend your time with, whether you want it or not. The people around you mold your mentality, your habits, and your way of seeing the world. If you surround yourself with negative, gossipy people who complain about everything, who have no ambitions, sooner or later you will also end up absorbing that energy. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people with a growth mindset, who inspire you, who challenge you to improve, your life will become something incredible. The Stoics were clear that the environment influences who you are. That's why a part of it is a part of the world. The fundamental part of an abundant life is to consciously choose with whom you share your energy. How to apply this key in life: evaluate your current circle. Ask yourself, the people I spend my time with inspire me or drain me, challenge me to be better or stagnate me in mediocrity? Are people of principles and values, or are just looking for instant gratification? Eliminate toxic relationships. Don't be afraid to let go of those who only bring drama, negativity, or bad influences on your life. You don't need to surround yourself with many people, only the right ones. Seek to surround yourself with people who elevate you. They don't have to be millionaires or will be successful. Look for people with values, with a growth mindset, with discipline, and with a desire to improve. Be the person you want to attract. You can't expect to surround yourself with incredible people if you yourself don't work on being a better version of yourself. Become someone who brings value to others. Why this key is important for an abundant life: because the environment in which you live defines the quality of your life. If you surround yourself with people who add, you will grow without realizing it. If you surround yourself with people who subtract, you will stagnate without realizing it. Abundance is not only about money or success, it is also about having relationships that nourish your mind, your soul, and your purpose. So ask yourself this question: the people I have around me are building my best version, or they are destroying it? Key number 12. Learn to say no without feeling guilty. If you don't decide for yourself, someone else will decide for you. Epictetus, let's see. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You accept commitments you don't want just so as not to look bad. You say yes to favors that wear you down because you don't want someone to get upset. You fill yourself with responsibilities areas for fear of disappointing others. If this happens to you, you have a problem with limits. And here is a hard but necessary truth: if you don't learn to say no, you will spend your life living according to the wishes of others instead of living according to your own. The Stoics were clear that your time and energy are your most valuable resources. If you waste them on things that you don't get contributed, you will end up exhausted, frustrated, and feeling that you have no control over your own life. Learning to say no is not being selfish, is respecting yourself. How to apply this key in life? Stop feeling obligated to say yes to everything before accepting something. Ask yourself, do I really want to do this? It brings me something positive. I am accepting it out of fear or conviction. Remember that you do not have to justify your no. You do not need to give long explanations. A simple I can. Right now it's enough. Set limits without guilt. Say no to what doesn't bring you. It's saying yes to what really matters in your life. You decide what you invest your time and energy in. Practice saying no in small things. If you have a hard time refusing, start with small situations. You'll see that over time you'll feel more comfortable setting limits. Why this key is important for an abundant life? Because if you don't learn to say no, it will fill you with unnecessary commitments and you will end up exhausted, without energy for what really matters. People who live with abundance know that their time is their most valuable asset. They don't waste it on things that don't add up to them. So ask yourself this question: how many things do I do just because I don't dare to say no? If the answer is many, then it's time to start setting key limits. Number 13, accept that life is not fair and move on. Life owes you nothing. All you have is a gift. Marco Aurelio. Here comes one of the hardest but most necessary truths. Life is not fair. It never has been and never will be. We live in a world where good people suffer for no reason. Corrupt people come to power. Effort not always it is rewarded as it should. Tragedies happen when we least expect it, and many people spend their lives complaining about this, feeling like victims, getting angry with the world because it is not fair. But the Stoics understood it differently. They knew that justice is a human ideal, but nature follows its own rules. The universe is not conspiring against you. They just happen them. Some are favorable, others are not. The important thing is not whether the life is fair, but how do you react to what you have to live? How to apply this key in life? Stop expecting everything to be fair. Instead of asking yourself why this is happening to me, ask yourself, how can I use this situation to grow? Don't get stuck in complaining. Complaining, it doesn't change anything. If something is not in your control, accept it and move on. Be strong when life hits you. True greatness is not in avoiding problems, but in avoiding problems. Get up every time you fall. Focus on what you can do. If something seems unfair to you and is within your control, do what you can to change it. If it is not in your control, let go of it. Why this key is important for an abundant life? Because when you accept that life is not fair, you stop wasting energy on complaining and you focus on what you can do. The difference between someone who feels miserable and someone who lives in abundance is not what happens to them, but how they face reality. So, ask yourself this question: I'm hoping that life is fair, or am I learning to adapt and move forward? Key number 14, live with purpose, not just by inertia. If you don't know which port you are heading to, no wind is favorable. Seneca. Look, here is the big difference between people who live with abundance and those that only exist. The former have a purpose, the latter just drift. Many go about their lives as if they were leaves blown by the wind. They get up, work, pay bills, repeat the routine, but without a clear direction, and then wonder why they feel an emptiness. The Stoics understood that living without purpose is the greatest waste of life. No matter how much money you have, how many luxuries you enjoy, or how many people admire you, if you don't have a purpose that drives you, you will never feel true abundance. How to apply this key in life? Discover what really fulfills you. Ask yourself, what activities make me feel alive? What things I could work on without getting tired? How can I value the world with what I know how to do? Don't settle for what doesn't make you happy. Many people accept mediocre lives because they believe that this is life. But no, life is what you choose to do with it. Set clear goals. It is not enough to say, I want a better life. Define what that means to you and work toward it every day. Fame, money, and other people's approval are meaningless goals. A true purpose comes from within and is not dependent on what others think of you. Make every day count. Don't wait for time or for everything to be perfect. Every day is an opportunity to get closer to your purpose. This is the key to an abundant life, because without it, you will feel lost. Even if you have everything, the most fulfilled people are not those who have accumulated the most possessions, but those who wake up each day with a reason to live.